It's a strip light, a self-contained strip light. I thought this was USB powered. It turns out that it's actually rechargeable. Not bad. I'll go through the modes and show you, and then I'll tell you what it's for. So this is lighting a bright pinky purple colour. I'm going to press the button. It's going to be dimmer. You can see a bit of pulse width modulation there. That's not so great because it is designed for filming use. Press the button again, it goes extra shimmery because it is dimming down. It's going to strobe. I'll warn you, it is going to strobe. Beware. Strobing. And then, of course, SOS. How useless. And unfortunately, when you push the button to put it into a mode, even if you leave it for a while, it just seems to step through all the patterns like a flashlight until it finally goes off. Now, let me show you what this was listed as on AliExpress. It does say rechargeable. I just assumed it was like plug it in and use it. It was $3, which is why I didn't think it was going to be rechargeable. And it's described as LED video light wand, handheld hanging fill light, photography lamp, rechargeable bedside lamp light stick for vlog live streaming. And the way it's presented, it's available in a selection of colours, but you do get colour programmable ones. You can select the colour, you get just white ones, or you get individual colour. This is just sort of individual colour units. And they're sold for just putting in the background. Say, for instance, you've got a shelf, you can just sit this on just before you start filming, and it will cast a bit of colour into your background. But I don't think it's going to last that long, not unless this is solid lithium cell from one end to the other, which I very much doubt. It came with a micro USB charging lead, which I have misplaced, just a standard, cheap, short lead, and 2 metal discs. The metal discs are designed to stick onto your precious furnishings, and there are magnets in the back, one at each end, so you can just snap it onto the wall. There's a little hanging hook here. At this end, we've got the button for selecting the modes and the charging port. And well, I'll just take it off shot to go through the strobe modes, and we'll take it apart. So, going by how these things normally go, there's usually a punch slot. Oh, that was easy. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What's it going to be? The LED strip is sliding out. Oh, hold on. Oh, is that 18650? It is. It's an 18650 with a connector. Interesting. Okay. So when they manufacture this, they obviously just stuff the appropriate colour of LED thing. I'm guessing the other end is just going to unclip in the same way. Yes, it is. Very easy to take apart. And this is one of these really amazing extrusions where they've extruded opaque plastic and translucent plastic in the same extrusion. Very thin extrusion. I mean, that's really precise. So looking at this, this looks all mashed up. Is this a used cell? Says 1,500 milliamp hour. I shall put this on test and we'll see if it's 1,500 milliamp hour. What about the circuitry? There is a single screw in the middle of this. What's it going to be? An LTH7 charge chip, perhaps. Maybe a dedicated one chip does all. So I can see 2 chips. Any transistors for driving the LEDs? No. That might be a flashlight chip then, one of those. Hold on, I'm just going to take a wee peek. Let's zoom down. LTH7. And undecipherable. I don't know if you guys can read that number. It's not very clear. Right, tell you what, I'll take a picture of this and we can explore it. I'm already seeing that the hole in it looks as though it's hand drilled. It doesn't look like... It looks maybe this was a different... No, there is a circle around it. Odd. I shall take a picture of this and we can explore it. One moment, please. Reverse engineering is complete. Let's explore. And we'll start with the back of the circuit board. There's only one thing worthy of note at the back of the circuit board. Where the screw goes through here, see this slight line where the screw is touched? This very rough hole, maybe it's a small hole and the screw just bursts its way through the rest of it. But it touches this track here. It eclipses this track and this one. And if it broke through the resist, it would short 2 points on the circuit, and I'll show you what they are. They're not super critical, but it's not ideal. So I put a little fibre washer under that when I put it back together. All right, let me show you. A little red fibre washer, if you can see that down there. So this is the back of the circuit board, and I'll show you the front of the circuit board too and talk you through this. It's not a hugely complex circuit. I can't even pick that up. There we go. We have the micro USB charging port. We have the LTH7 charging chip, a 1.8K resistor for programming that. Now, I didn't have it fully discharged to a low level, but the maximum current I saw charging was 400 milliamps. I think that should allow a higher current. We have one LED to show when it's charging, and there's its resistor there. According to the manual, which is good for the LTH7, the incoming USB supply has its own capacitor, 1 microfarad, and the output to the battery also has a capacitor, 1 microfarad. Then we've got the magic chip. It's very hard to read. Look how clear that one is. LTH7. Look how faint that is. Is it 8AN or BAN? Not sure. And then it's got a couple of other small characters. It's very fuzzy. And that is doing everything else. Basically speaking, it gets a feed from the battery. And when this button is clicked, it pulls one of those pins low and it switches through the modes and drives the LEDs directly. Now, it's odd. There is a resistor position across those LEDs. I don't even know what that's for. I wonder why they put that in there. I can't think of why they did that. I'm also a bit perplexed that this chip has 2 negative pins and 2 positive pins. I wonder what the reasoning is behind that. Maybe one of the negative pins is like a dedicated transistor sort of like source for the internal MOSFET for this pin. Not sure. It's a mystery chip, but common for this sort of flashing bike lights and stuff like that. Okay, I think that's everything in that circuit board. Let's take a look at the schematic. Although that pretty much explains everything. I will say there is an oddity. I'll bring the circuit board back in. There's not any major current limiting. This strip here has 4 resistor positions at the end, but they've put 0 ohm links in them all. They're all in parallel. They're obviously designed to allow this strip to, say, you were running it from a USB supply. Those resistors will be to regulate the sort of current through the LEDs, but in this case they're just shunted out and connected straight to the unit. It's also worth mentioning that when I bought this unit, it was supposed to be 300 millimeters or a foot long. Let's bring in the measuring tape for this. The outer measurements, actually it's hard to measure it now because I've got one end cap off, but the outer measurements were over 20 inches long. That's over 500 millimeters long. And the illuminated bit would be about 19 inches or 480 millimeters long. So it's not the one that I requested. It's actually, in a way, it's a better one. I wonder if the smaller ones have a smaller cell as well. Let's zoom down just a little bit. Oh, mega zoom in and out here. There's the USB connector. There's the 1 microfarad capacitor across it, measured in circuit with the battery, with the USB disconnected, and with the little lazy SMD tongs. They're pretty good, actually. There is the LTH7. There is a red LED to show charging status, but when that, if that screw was to bridge 2 tracks, it would bridge the incoming USB positive to that, and that would effectively, while it was attempting to charge, it would just shunt that 5-volt supply down to ground via transistor inside. I'm not sure how much current would flow. There is a 1.8 thousand ohm 1K8 programming resistor that sets the current this is going to charge at. There's another 1 microfarad capacitor in the output. There's the 1.5 amp hour lithium cell, and it is actually 1.5 amp hour exactly as it says on the cell. Let me just drag that out. I'm thinking the reason that foam tape was all mushed up is because when it goes in, it's just to pack it and stop it rattling about, and that's it. Basically, it's a friction fit, and it does scrape, and that's what's ruffled it up. But this says 1,500 milliamp hour. I put it on a full charge and test cycle in my charger, and it charged it up to the top and then measured its capacity as it discharged it, and it came in at just over 1,500 milliamp hour. What a refreshing change that makes. That means this unit will last easily over an hour at full power, because at full output it's 1,260 milliamps, but that will fall progressively as it discharges. At the medium, which is basically half that, it's 633 milliamps, and at low, which is half that again, it's 325 milliamps. But as you saw earlier, there may be, depending on your camera shutter speed, there may be a bit of shimmer. The shutter speed is fast on this camera because I've got very bright lighting here. But here's the mystery chip, 8AN I think it is. There's the button to the 0 volt rail. It's got a couple of connects going to positive, a couple of connects going to negative, and then it's just driving 56 LEDs in parallel directly. And that's more or less it. So it does have scope. You do have the option of adding a resistor in series or adding resistors into the end of that strip. Let me zoom back out again and bring this back in. You could add the resistors that are missing at the end of the strip, although this is a aluminium core PCB and they're always quite hard to solder, or you could sleeve a little resistor and just tuck one on the end in one of these wires, or in each of these wires with a bit of sleeving, just to reduce the power, so that if you were using this for decorative use and not looking for mega illumination from it, you could potentially, you could set a lower current so that setting the full power mode would actually run it at lower current and lower intensity without that pulse width modulation flicker. But there we have it. It's refreshingly okay. It's not bad. It was incredibly cheap, suspiciously cheap. Almost tempted to get a few of the other colours and try them in the background during the live streams. Though the live streams, oh, I can't put that battery in like that. I have to slide the strip in first. Although the live streams on Twitch, they do tend to run a 1.5 hours. This should actually last that, but if it was tamed down, it definitely would last it. But there's already enough illumination in the back. There's supercomputers and everything in the back during the live streams. BigClive.com, just the same name as this channel, but on Twitch. I moved away from YouTube just to avoid politics. But there we have it. The unit just goes together quite easily. It clicks on, and you get the magnets, and there it is. You've got your ambient light for adding just a little splash of illumination when you just want to fill the background with a bit of extra colour. Not bad at all. Quite a nice little light.